Welcome back to another episode of the Scale Your Real Estate Podcast, guys. Today's guest, oh my gosh, this is my best friend. He was the best man at my wedding, and this is my COO. He is the person that helps me run all of my companies and do what I do. Everybody around him just becomes better. He's an amazing person. He's got true wisdom, and I just can't wait for you to learn from him. You know, the interesting thing that I had to learn is that I can't do it alone. You know, as a new entrepreneur, you think you're talented enough to do it all, and you just aren't. You need people with complementary skill sets to you, not the same skill set, but complementary skill sets. And that is what Ramu is to me. He's the guy who keeps this whole thing on the road. He is helping us. I'm partnered with him in building this co-living company. And so excited for you to learn and dive in and hear his wisdom. Now we are friends, so we get a little silly. We kind of go some back and forth. We're having some whiskey when we do this episode. So just enjoy and take notes. It's one you do not want to miss. What's behind the suits, man?
I'm assuming you don't mean the TV show.
Well, we do like this. We both are aficionados, or whatever the term is there, of this show, Suits. I am curious why we like Suits so much as a TV show too.
We'll answer both. So what's behind the suits? When I was growing up, suits were always this symbol of success. Right? Who wore suits? At that time, right? Not anymore. Only very affluent people who had an important job, people who had an important status would wear suits all the time. Now it's a complete opposite, right? Like the most important guy shows up like he came from the gym. And all the guys who work for him dress up, so it's kind of inversed a little bit now. But you know, when I was a single-digit child, that was kind of what was always portrayed. I still remember my dad. My parents are immigrants. You know, they moved here 25-ish years ago. And when my dad came, I remember him telling me that the only thing that he carried with him on the plane was his suit, because he didn't want to wrinkle his suit because he needed it for interviews when he came. And he had one suit. That was it. And I remember in middle school, I had some speech or some competition or something, and he let me borrow his suit. It was super oversized. And I felt like it was one of the most important things that he had entrusted me with was his suit, because it was very important. I rarely saw him wear it. My parents could care less about articles of clothing, right? So it was not like that was a family value. It was just something that I picked up. Something else I realized is that regardless of your body shape and how heavy or light you are, or how toned or not you are, everybody looks good in a suit. Have you ever seen somebody wear a full suit and not look good?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's just unless they're wearing it poorly, which takes more effort, in my opinion, to wear a suit poorly than wear it well, because it's just that easy.
Yeah.
It's just, you look good, you feel good, you perform better. When I was in college, I'd go to class 5 days a week, minimum 3 days a week. I'd go in a suit and tie. And it really worked for me. I was the officer of several organizations. People knew me as the suit guy, because it'd be who's the one dude in the management school walking around with the suit? Even the professors and the dean didn't wear a tie. I was the only one. So I stood out, and I stood out in a positive sense, and it really worked out. Here's a fun dream that I don't know if I've ever shared with you. When I was in college, I think still earning. I bought all my own suits, actually. So it's a fun fact there. I would take it from my internship money and go to Macy's and buy these suits. I get them tailored now, right? They're all I have my own tailor. But at the time, I remember telling one of my friends, I would be my absolute dream if I could afford 5 suits, because then I would wear the same 5 suits, one a day, every day of the week, and go to work. And I thought that was amazing. I'd be like, man, I wish I was affluent enough one day to have 5 suits. Before I graduated college, I had 5 suits. I have 15 suits at this point, right?
That's a cool dream. Speaking of college and spending money, one of the famous Ramu and Sam stories that I want people to understand and want people to know is you were in college when you gave me your first check, right?
What?
Okay, I was just making sure. So Ramu and I meet at a Tony Robbins conference, and big shout out to my sister Charity, who officially kind of was the one who introduced us and brought us together. And Ramu and I, just had that. My sister connected us, and instantly I knew there was some kindred spirits. We started talking about our families, our upbringings, and we realized that we have very different cultures, and just so much about us is different. Yet we talked, I think that first night, we walked around this huge parking lot that included a bank and all this other, and we walked to early in the morning. We just chatted and connected, and it was a really magical conversation. And we decided right then and there to be accountability buddies. And from that point on, we talked every day, initially every day. And then we talked, and then it kind of went back to, I think, 3 days a week. And then one day, and then it still to this day, I mean, that was probably, I think, 9 years ago. I think we did the math on that the other day. It was 9 years ago. We've talked every single week. And now we're back, believe it or not, we're full circle. We're back to talking every day because now we're partners and we're building business together and we're dominating the co-living space. But there was something you did, man, in that first thing that I'd love for you to tell. There's a story deeper behind that really lets people know kind of where your mindset is. And I hope listeners take away from this that, dude, your mindset, I've seen you become so successful in such a short period of time. I've seen you just rocket and accelerate. And I don't care if someone listening to this is trying to make more money, become big in real estate, I want to, be a better business person, be better at the relationships. There are some secrets to it that I feel like you've deployed. And the story you're about to share, I think, has a lot of those secrets embedded into it. And that if people would take to heart and use, then they would achieve success faster with more fun. And so would you mind sharing that story, man?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will add a small correction to when we started our calls. It was a year after we met, actually. It's like a year and 2 months. I'll tell you how I remember. So we had this beautiful conversation. We walked around the bank. And once we went home, you had Amazon shipped me a book. And you sent me this beautiful text, and you said it'll be in your handwriting, but it's a note for me. Write it down. Still have the book. Wrote down this beautiful message, and we didn't talk for about 10 months actually after that. It's just this memory.
You know the details, man. You remember the details, but you bring that to our party. Thank you.
Here's what was very impressive for me at the time, right? So we talk, we connect. Although we were from very different cultures, we had the same value system. Weirdly enough, our families had been through very similar things. Our siblings had been through similar things. Our fathers had been through similar things. And you and I had several experiences that were very similar in nature as well. So we connected there. One of the many things that we talked about that night, early morning, you had said, in 10 months, I'm going to be a millionaire. And I was like, that's cool, man. Good for you. Super happy and just cool. It was just one of the many things. What I was super impressed, because you said 10 months from now is October. In October, I will be a millionaire. October rolls around, and I see on your Facebook, you had a newspaper clipping with your photo. Local young millionaire entrepreneur, Sam Wegert. I was like, honestly, I was not impressed that you were a millionaire. I was super impressed that you knew it was going to happen in October, and it was October. It was like, this guy can predict the future. What does he know that I don't? Because one of the many reasons I went to that seminar was I would set goals every year and I would fail every year. And I was just getting more and more depressed. And the year that we had met was year 3. And the October that I saw the Facebook post was year 4. Dude, 4 years of goal setting, failing, I was at a very low. And so I did something I've never done before. I messaged you and I was like, do you remember me? And you were like, yeah, kind of. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm coming to your house. And you were like, what? Why? And
Ramu tells this story so much better than me. I'm like, we walked around a bank and then then it was happily ever after. And I love that you're bringing the nuances to this, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. So you were like, why do you want to come? I met you once. That's weird for you to invite yourself to my house. And I was like, I don't know what you do, but I want to know whatever you do. I want to just understand. And you were like, okay, that's weird, but sure. We booked this date and I come out and basically you were like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to see the way you live. It was the hardest 3 days of my life up until then. This guy woke up at 6 a.m. He wouldn't eat any food that was warm. All of his food was cold. He'd wake up, he didn't drink coffee at the time. He'd make me a green smoothie. I could barely drink it. I was barely awake when he gave it to me. Then he was like, let's go work out and do calisthenics and jump on the trampoline. And I was like, I'm still trying to sleep over here. We'd go work out, and then he would go to work. And at the time, he ran martial arts studios. So his work was working out. And I was like, we already went to the gym. Why are we doing this again? And he was like, you have to do this. You said you wanted to live my life. You got to do this Krav Maga. And I was like, okay.
What a beautiful, and I know there's more to the story. I just want to interject. Like, I always love like listening to, like, when people are on the show, I love like hearing them talk, and I love like just trying to extract the wisdom and put it into a nugget for the listeners to hear. And so like you're complimenting me a lot, man. I love that. And I love that. I love my active lifestyle. And, even today we still move a lot and go on hikes and things. But man, the decision that you made to say, I'm just going to fly out to see this guy I've met once, and I'm going to ask him, I'm going to have the courage to ask him if I can hang out with him. I mean, there is so much power in that, man. And I think that that's a courageous decision. I think that, I wish more people did that, I think is what I'm trying to say. I wish more people had that courage to just say, hey, can I come and learn from you? Can I come shadow you? Because there's so much that can be learned in that experience. So,
fun fact, because you said that, I've shared this story with so many people I know. And then they go, well, can I ask you? And I was like, I don't know, ask. And people will ask, well, can I come spend a day with you? Can I come shadow you? Can I do whatever? And those people are some of my closest friends right now. So that's super cool, man.
There you go, guys. Like, best business move you can make. Just start asking people that you've met one time to go hang out at their house and sleep with them. But no, it is. I mean, I remember from my perspective, when I got that call from you, I remember thinking like, wow. I remember because it was the first time anybody had asked me to do that. And it made me feel special. It made me feel like, okay. And it made me want to contribute. So it was an honor, to have you. That's awesome.
Thank you, brother. So we spent the whole weekend trying to set goals, and Sam couldn't yank a single goal out of me because I was just beat down. And I still remember we went to this restaurant in downtown Charlotte called Fahrenheit. It was, 30 stores up.
Yeah, beautiful rooftop place.
And Sam's like, order your favorite whiskey. We're going to go out and we're going to talk about goals. So we're sipping our, most favorite whiskey. We're on the patio overlooking downtown Charlotte. It's a nightscape right in front of a fire. And we're talking. And Sam is like high energy, trying to get through to me. And the only thing he's able to get out is he goes, well, what do you do? If you could do anything, suspend reality, what could you do? And I was like, I would donate $5,000 to charity. And he goes, do it. And I was like, Sam, I don't even make $5,000 a year. I'm in college. I have an internship, but it doesn't even pay $5,000 a year. Basically it's hourly, it's whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I don't care. Do it. And that's all I remembered. And he said, I'll do you one better. You write me a check for $5,000 by next December. And if I achieve some of my business goals, I will write you a check for $9,000. And we will commit to each other that we will responsibly spend it for social causes. I said, deal. I spent the next 1 year obsessing about that goal. It was like a December to December. And I think I only made like $7,000 that year, is the truth. Like take home pay, I saved $5,000. I was obsessed with that. Coincidentally, Sam had also invited me to Date with Destiny. He's like, I go every year. Come with me. I rent to this big house. I call all my friends. Let's go. So I was like, okay, cool. This was, by the way, my last year in college. So I never had gone to Date with Destiny, even though I wanted to, because it coincided with finals. I literally emailed all my professors at the beginning of the semester and said, I will not come to finals on your specified date. I want to take it early, because I will be gone for finals. I don't care what you say. And you're not going to argue with me because it's my last semester. What are you going to do? Prevent me from graduating? Like, we can go talk to the dean because I'm buddies with him. And so all the professors were like, fine, whatever. Yeah, we'll move up your exam. Finish the exam. I go there. And one of the first things I do is I'm just like waiting to share the check with Sam. And so we find a moment, like maybe 2 hours after we got there, said, hey, I got to talk to you. We went to the kitchen because it had the best lighting. And Sam's like, I know you're going to say something big. I can feel it. So let's record this. So he records a video of me sharing the story that I just shared with you. And I said, remember that? This is the $5,000. He goes, yeah, I remember it. And I basically pull out from my pocket a check I'd already written for $5,000. I sign it and I hand it to him. And he just has tears in his eyes. And he's like, how much money did you even make this year? And I was like, about $7,000. And he's like, anybody who would make $7,000 in a year and donate 5 of that and like keep their commitment, I want to be friends with them.
That's like inverse tithe, right? We're supposed to give 10%, right? You reversed that almost completely. Give the 90%, keep the 10, reverse tithe. It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, man. And then what I said was, anybody who can basically set a goal and keep it, I want to be friends with them. And after that, every night after Date with Destiny, we would spend like 1 to 2 hours walking around the neighborhood, just chatting about our takeaways. We loved it so much. That's when we committed to talking every single day of the week. And that's where it started. And that's our story. I don't think we've like missed more than a couple of weeks.
Really?
Not even a year, like a couple of weeks ever.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And we always make it up. I think there's so many lessons in this story, man. Like, number one, your heart to give, like just coming from a place of service, allowed us to connect. I think that's like a big lesson. I think another big lesson is, a lot of people get on me for like working with my family or working with my friends, right? They're like, well, like keep those separate. And I think hopefully that the entrepreneurs listening to this can relate. Like, hey, if you are doing something fun with your work life, and it's profitable and it's succeeding, I want to bring my friends and family into that. Why wouldn't I want to work with them? My wife tells me all the time, Sam, you work so much. And I'm like, I'm talking with Ramu tonight. Like, that's not really work. We're like hanging out, and we try to keep it a secret from our wives. We pretend to work. It's like, because it's like really, we're doing that. So I think everybody, man, so many people out there want what we have. They want to be able to have a good integrator, a good partner, someone that they can trust, someone they can bounce ideas off, someone that thinks a little bit just enough differently than them, complementary to them, not so different than their butting heads, but starting with both of us saying that service-oriented attitude and just starting by saying, hey, how can I serve is really one of the biggest lessons I took away. And if anybody's out there and you see somebody that is a heart-centered, dedicated giver, like, man, that's someone, you just bring them on your team. Like, find a way to work with that person on your team, because that's key. I know we had a story. I shared this story with you, Ramu, the other day, but we have a team member. She was not our team member. She was a contractor. This is kind of the third person we're really adding to our management group here for us. But she, I texted you the other day. This lady, her name is Ala, and she was furnishing one of our homes. And she's not a teenager anymore, right? She's I won't say her age, but she's older than 30. Let's just say that. So she's not a teenager or in her 20s or college age. That's what I'm trying to say. Yet she was at this house furnishing one of our new co-living houses. And she texted me and she says, I'm working so late here. I'm just going to stay at the house. But there were no beds at this house. And I was just like, wait, where are you going to stay? So she texted me a picture of a blanket and like a little rolled up thing for a pillow, a little rolled up like shirt or something. And I remember telling you this, Ramu, I was like, anybody who will go to that lengths and stay in a house. Oh, and then she was like, well, we've got like 7 a.m. deliveries. I need to be here anyway. It's fine. You don't need to book me a hotel. And I was like, I'm sharing this because it's an analogy to what you did, Ramu. It's like anybody who serves and gives, and I want the listeners to take this away. Anybody who does that. I remember telling Ramu, and Ramu, we were like, we need to hire her. And, a week later, she was our full-time team member, right? Like, we're like, that.
A week later, we just hired her because we were just like, anybody who's willing to put that kind of effort, make that kind of sacrifice because she's committed to getting it done, we want them on our team. And yeah, we're very excited.
We're very excited. Yeah. We know she'll go above and beyond because there's success leaves clues. And the biggest thing I've learned about staff members is team members and bringing team members on and partners and all of that. It's just like, do they have a good track record? Ramu came in with a track record. Now, I will say just during that time at the top of that Fahrenheit restaurant, you did I did say, hey, you can order whatever whiskey you want. And I just didn't think that Ramu would go for the most expensive whiskey that this place had. But we are, as a tribute to that, we are drinking some whiskey right now. So cheers, Ramu.
Cheers.
And thanks for being on. Cheers.
I want to share another story that goes full circle, because our story started at Fahrenheit. For Sam's 30th birthday, we brought our wives, and the four of us went to Fahrenheit again for dinner. That was so magical. We went there, we ordered the same whiskeys. It was great. We actually took some photos overlooking the city. It was beautiful.
Loved that time, man. So Ramu, one of your superpowers, one of your many superpowers is constantly being happy and always having a gratitude mindset. I joke about it, but it is totally true. And I joke to people, I'm like, Ramu can take the worst situation, just something crazy can happen in business. Someone can be pissed off at us. Someone can ask for a full refund, all this crazy stuff, whatever it is, business deal can go completely south. One of our previous partners can be yelling at us, right? And Ramu has a way of being like, you know what's good about this? And then he proceeds to tell me what's good about it. And this is another reason, man, you have this energy about you that makes me better. Those of you that watch Suits, also, you're in season 8. There's a whole thing about who makes people better. So it reminded me of you, but that's the TV show, that is. You make me better, and you make me better through your attitude. And so I want you to tell the listeners just a little bit about, how did you get that way, man? And I'll give another quick example. You and I did a speaking gig here in Charlotte to about 100 people about co-living. And at the end of that, we took the organizer and the head of the event. We were out at this restaurant. And the first thing you said, man, you led it. You were like, hey, guys, let's do magic moments. And I'd love for you to explain what magic moments is to you and why that's a ritual for you. And just what that is and how it changes your life. And honestly, man, if we can make this a little practical, how do you actually think it affects business? Do you think it does affect business, or is this truly just a pure happiness play? You're always grateful, you're always thinking of the best things, you're always asking yourself this question, how is this a good thing that happened? So talk to us a little bit about that. I know I threw a lot at you there.
No, happy to. I'll answer your last question, and then at the end, if I remember your first question, I'll answer that too. So what is magic moments, and how does it affect you as an individual and in business? Magic moments, so we do magic moments in gratitude. I kind of roll them in together. What are you grateful for? What is something that happened that you're like, oh, I'm so thankful this happened? A magic moment is something that you're just excited about, that you personally liked. So basically, I roll anything positive into magic moments. So we brought our whole team to this event that Sam and I spoke at. And then we took the organizers on our team out for dinner and drinks. And then we went around and we just all said what we were grateful for, what we're happy about, what went well at the event. And by the end of the event, the organizers were holding back their tears, right? And that was a magic moment for me. Now, how does this benefit? Now, this gentleman and his business partners know what kind of impact that they're making in society, for people, for their guests. That is fuel to do it more. Life always gets hard at some point. Why are you doing it? Everybody questions it. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to work? Why am I doing this business deal? This is so hard. Everything sucks. Why am I in this? Those moments are going to keep you going. Something else that really benefits is the more you're grateful for, the more happier you are. When people like to buy from happy people. If you want to go buy from a grumpy salesman, nobody even wants to talk to you. Nobody even wants to be friends with a grumpy person. Think about your favorite friend. Think about somebody you really admire. They're probably always happy. They'll probably always have a high energy, or they can bounce back quickly, something like that, right? So if you're very grateful all the time, which I am, and I'll tell you why I am very soon, then I'm a happy person. And when I'm happy, people want to be around me because I'm happy. They go, what is that guy doing where he's always smiling? Let's go be with him, be around him. You attract the best people. You attract the best talent. You retain the best clients. You can make more sales if you're in sales. And if you don't think you're in sales, you're wrong. Everybody's in sales. You got to sell your spouse on marrying you. You've got to sell your kids on doing their chores. You've got to sell your family on where to go to vacation and dinner. Everybody's in sales.
That's a great point, dude. I read this book called The Likability Factor back probably 8, 9, 10 years ago now. And it was basically what you're saying, man. It was that premise. The premise of the book was, if you have this ability to, if people like you, like you will get further in life, in business. People will want to do you favors. People will just kind of connect you with someone out of the blue, you know? And so there's this likability factor that this guy was trying to get people to develop. And what I hear you saying is gratitude and positivity and always thinking the best about others. I've noticed that too. You almost always, in almost any situation, man, you're like thinking the best, giving people the benefit of the doubt. And so what a beautiful...
It does have some of its negativity though. I think I like trust people too much, and I'm always giving people the benefit of the doubt.
I'll be the pessimist in this relationship.
Yeah, you said it, not me. So Sam balances me and he goes, maybe let's not give this guy the benefit of the doubt for the third time in a row, Ramu. Like, maybe we should just think about he's not good for the job. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense too. So it comes with its pluses and minuses, right? But why am I grateful? I think that's a question you asked that I would like to answer. I've been very privileged. When I was growing up, my parents took me to nonprofit events, volunteering, service. I would go feed the homeless every month. And I mean, like, for years and years and years. Every first Friday, we went to the homeless shelter. Every 4 to 6 weeks, you would go volunteer again for some sort of community event. I was in Boy Scouts. Service is like taught to you, right? You have a mandated number of hours. Even in high school, you had like a requirement for volunteering. So I always had this environment of like, you have to do social good. And when you do social good, you're doing it for people that have less than you, right? And I got to see firsthand as a child how much hurt there is in the world, how much people are living with less, the unfortunate circumstances that people are doing. And through that, I just kind of got like, no matter how bad I have it, it's not as bad as it could be. Some people are faring far worse and have a way better attitude about it than I have, about what I do have. And so I learned very quickly to be grateful. And I realized that my worst situation could be somebody's dream situation. So if I lose everything, that might even be where somebody else in my own neighborhood might want to be. So I have nothing to be upset about. And the business takeaway from it is when you're that grateful and you're that happy, you actually end up getting more, weirdly enough. When you're not afraid to lose and you're just happy for everything you have and you're grateful and you can express it all the time, wealth finds you. People come to you and they go, I like you. I want to work with you. I want to give you a chance. I want to give you an opportunity because you're a positive person. You're a happy person. So that's brought a lot of opportunities to me as well. So yeah, thank you for asking me that, man. That's like such a huge part of my life and character. So thank you. And I got to say that Sam is the reason I am very successful at goal setting now. Him being able to yank that one thing out of me and then reinforcing it with positivity. Oh my God. I went from not being able to set a goal for years to achieving my goals earlier than I set them now. And a huge, huge portion of that credit goes to Sam.
Thank you for that credit. And I also know that you've developed kind of your own goal setting system. What would you say are the top 2 to 3 things that make your way that you set goals right now unique and special and allow you to hit those goals?
Great question. So there's a couple of points. One is the goal has to be achievable and easy. When I set goals, the goal has to be so simple that you got to think, if I don't do that, I'm an idiot. Like, it has to be that easy. It's not, I know people to like do a stretch
just
goal.
To build momentum? What's the purpose behind that?
Yeah, it's to build momentum, right? Most people give up very quickly because they don't even think they can achieve the goal. If your goal is such a low standard for you that if you don't do it, you feel stupid about it, you're going to guilt yourself into doing it. And then next year, you're going to marginally improve it and marginally improve it. And 3-4 years later, you're going to look back and be like, holy shoot, I've like 2-3x'd my performance. It won't happen overnight, won't happen in 1 year, but it will happen in 2-3-4 years. That's one aspect. Second aspect is distinctions. There's a difference between a goal, a habit, and an intention. A goal and a habit can be smart, like a SMART goal, but an intention is not smart. And knowing the difference between the three and knowing how to track them are very important. And that brings me to my third point, tracking. Tracking has to be easy. It has to be simple. It has to be straightforward. I basically boil everything down to check marks. I pre-populate everything. I set reminders. My goal cannot escape my mindset. My goal cannot escape my attention or my calendar because it's preset. And when I accomplish it, my tracking is clicking one button. Always. It's that easy. And so that's probably the three biggest takeaways I would say in my goal setting that I've created. It takes all these complexities and simplifies the hell out of it. And Sam will tell you I'm very good at dumbing things down. I consider myself successful. I don't consider myself smart. And I would say that my lack of smartness brought me my success. Because I'll simplify the heck out of everything, and then suddenly it's super easy to do. So I could do it, and I can train anyone else to do it. And before you know it, you got a whole business that's just humming by itself with little input from me.
And I want to harp on this. First of all, it's beautiful and gold. Like that, what you just dropped there is amazing. And you really taught me that concept of setting goals that are achievable. For me, I would set a lot of crazy big goals because I thought big goals, were the thing to do. And what ended up happening was I would work hard towards them, but it would just be disappointing, man. It would kind of reinforce the negative emotions that I would have. And over time, like maybe not in 1 year, that's a problem, or 2 years in a problem, but over time, it was like, that little voice in your head would just be like, well, why are you even setting this goal? Like, you're not going to achieve it.
Yeah.
Like it might make you work hard for a month, but you're not going to achieve it. So you really harped on that of like, no, build momentum, give yourself that next step. And then you'll want to go more, and then you'll want to go more. And you're building that flywheel concept of expanding. I really.
Can I share a takeaway?
Yeah. Go for it.
One thing that we have started doing in our business is we took that and we've expanded it or shrunk it in a different way. We now set our business goals 1 quarter at a time. We don't do annual plans. We're growing so fast that a year out doesn't even make any sense for us to talk about because we could be grossly wrong. We talk about 3 months from now. We talk about what we need to do this month to make that 3-month goal happen. And so every month, Sam and I sit down and go, what do we want to accomplish this month? How much do we want to grow? How much can we handle? What do we want to be? Where do we want to be in 3 months? End of the quarter, end of the year. So shrinking that timeline has made a huge difference. It's non-committal, right? For those of you who are like me, who gets anxiety when you commit to this big number and you're like, how am I going to do it? 3-month goal is just incremental for me. But at the end of the year, we could have 2x, 3x our business, right? I
want to bring out a nugget that you just kind of casually went over, but I think it's gold, dude, like what you just shared. And that is that you mentioned like, hey, I'm not like, I dumb things down. And you said, that's my key to success. And so I was listening to a podcast by one of my personal mentors. His name is David Osborne. And, he is worth almost $215 million right now. Lives financially, at least the lifestyle we would all want to live. Private jet, go anywhere, total time freedom, time with his family, blah, 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 blah. Right. And someone that was interviewing him asked him, he said, what holds people back from accomplishing, that level of wealth? And man, he barely missed a beat. And he kind of almost said what you said. I'll kind of try to put it in his words as best I can. He said, talent holds people back. And the guy was like, oh, you mean if they're like not talented enough, they can't be successful? He goes, no, the opposite. He goes, the people that are too talented think they can do it all. So they never delegate. They never hire. They're so talented, they do take it all on themselves. And they never learn to make life simple and give things away. And their ego gets in the way of thinking, I can handle all this stuff. And they don't learn to build that business because it's all based on who they are. He's like, that's the biggest thing that holds people back. And he said the biggest thing that helped him in his life was that he burnt out hardcore at like the age of 25. And he was like, it was such a painful time in my life. He's like, but the one thing I learned from burning out hardcore was that there is no way in hell I can build wealth if I have to do it all. And so he immediately started getting really good at 2 skills, hiring and firing. And he's told me personally before, like that's his 2 skills to become successful. Like all he can do, he doesn't know what those people even do a lot of times. He just knows how to hire, hold them accountable to KPIs, and then how to fire if they're not doing that. And I thought that was just a really powerful concept. You almost kind of mimicked it with what you said. as well. But hey, man, I want to transition a little bit because you made a powerful, powerful switch in your life. And I was fortunate enough to kind of be a witness to this switch. You were a corporate person, which totally fit the suits, by the way.
I was the only one who wore suits at every company.
Is that right?
Yeah. Even the CEO wouldn't dress like me. I mean, it was just, I was crazy.
always taking it up a notch. I love that. So you were in this corporate job. You were making, I think, 55, 65 a year, right? Something 75,000 a year, something like that. And you left your W-2, man. And I mean, there's so many W-2 earners out there that just dream of one day being able to wake up and say, I don't need to have this job anymore. I don't want to be slave to the man anymore. What were some of the key things that helped you make that decision? And what advice would you have for someone else trying to make that switch from either W-2 to real estate, W-2 to financially free, or just W-2 to, like you, to entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. The primary driver for me to quit my job was I felt like I wasn't making a difference. Impact was such an important part of who I am and what I do and what I'm driven by, ergo my charity, my volunteering, all of that. I felt like I wasn't making a difference anymore. And I felt like if I didn't show up to work tomorrow, nobody would even notice because they were too busy doing their own thing, or my thing wasn't important enough for somebody to notice, or whatever the reason could be. And when I felt that, I decided to quit. And I decided to go where I can make an impact. If you feel like you're not making an impact, go somewhere where you can make an impact. If somebody's trying to talk about financial freedom and moving, there is value in a W-2 job. But I think it's very important to know what W-2 jobs add to your financial success and subtract from your financial success. A W-2 job that doesn't give you energy, that drains your personal resources, your energy, your time, your freedom, you might want to consider alternative options. If you have a job where you just love it, it gives you energy a lot, you like it, you like your coworkers, you like what you do, keep it. But if you're just miserable, either find a new job or go work for yourself, right? Life is too short to not do something you love. I stopped being a happy person, and so I left because that's who I am. I'm a happy person. And if I can't be happy, then something in my environment is wrong. The fish isn't sick, the water is dirty. Right? Me being the fish in the scenario and the water being...
Got that.
Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but there's an answer.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. So you're saying check in with your energy, check in with how it makes you feel. What I hear you saying is W-2 jobs are not bad inherently in and of themselves. It's more, what does it do for you? How does it create something and that's a good point, man. Because my dad worked a W-2 job and he used to tell me all the time, like, I love going to work, Sam. Like, it's always variety. It's fun. I like the people I work with. Like, he enjoyed being at work. And that gave him energy. So for you, was it difficult to finally pull that trigger, man, and take the leap? Was that difficult? How did you get over the fear of, I mean, you were recently married, you have a family. Like, how did you get over that fear?
Yeah, it's a great question. How did I make the decision? Was the decision hard? It was extremely difficult because this particular job that I had that I quit from, before the last 1 year of it, was my dream job. I had worked my entire life to get that job.
Yeah. Wow.
And walking away from something that wonderful for me was very difficult. It took me 3-4 months to even accept and process it. And even when I gave my resignation, I gave a 3-month notice, not a 3-day, 3-week, 2-week notice, a 3-month notice. I gave them like 100 days, right? Because I was like, because I didn't know, like, it was hard. It was very hard for me. I spent over 6 months making the decision. I think anybody should think that long and hard before they quit a W-2 job for entrepreneurship. What was the second part of your question?
Just like, how did you get over that fear? Was it something that somebody told you? Was it finally you just had enough? Was it what allowed you to finally, because I know a lot of people who want to do this, but it's just like, like they're stuck.
Weirdly enough, I don't know if this is going to be very motivating, but it'll be very real and raw. I didn't feel like I had another option, is the truth. I didn't feel like I could stay. It just wasn't an option for me. I didn't feel like I could go to another corporate company and sell my soul. It wasn't an option for me. And I went, well, it's the only other option left. It was working for yourself. Yeah. I will say I was blessed enough to see a lot of successful entrepreneurs growing up. Let me take that back. I saw a lot of entrepreneurs growing up.
Not always successful, but
not always successful. Half of them were terrible and they shouldn't have ever been an entrepreneur. And I saw the people who were very good. And the beauty of that was I got to see everybody's personalities and go, hey, in the successful list, what's common? In the failure list, what's common? And I saw that the failure list was people.
Wait. What was common? I want to know what was common in both those lists. You got common.
Yeah, man, absolutely happy to answer that. In the failure list, people would rush to decisions. They had a big ego. They thought they were the only solution. They were quiet about their problems. Those are all things that I saw. In the successful list, they weren't afraid of looking stupid. They were typically less smart. And that was very inspiring for me. One of the people I really looked up to growing up couldn't spell. I would email him and he would email me back and there'd be like 7 spelling mistakes. And I was the only kid in my entire elementary school that never got a 100 in any weekly spelling test. And I took spelling tests for 5 years in elementary school. Never made 100. I was just terrible at it. This guy was a multimillionaire at the time. He employed like 150 people. He employs like 350 now. And I was like, okay, this guy employs like 150 people and he can't spell one sentence correctly. Cool. That's not a requirement to be successful. That's great. So,
glad.
I saw the vulnerability. They just put themselves out there and they made it work, right? Another thing that I saw that was very successful is people's ability to delegate. Humility. The accessibility. Weirdly enough, the most successful entrepreneurs are always available. And the guys who didn't make it were too busy.
Wow.
How is that possible? It's not because they had a bunch of free time, but because they knew what they valued. They didn't value their ego. They valued other people. They valued family. They valued their society, their environment. And they're all givers as well. They all did a lot of charity. They all did a lot of volunteering, leadership, giving away free knowledge. And that was just something I resonated with. And I was like, okay, I have the raw ability to be you. I just don't have the refined skills. I have bad spelling. I like to give socially. And I have an interest in doing better for myself. And I just saw myself in those people and I took that leap of faith. And here's something else that I did as I grew as an entrepreneur. Constant feedback. I would go find everybody that I thought was successful and I would interview them perpetually. Since I was a freshman in college, that was something that I did. Here's a fun fact, Sam. I don't know if you actually know this about me. I would pay to go to industry conference award functions when I was in college. I'd be like the one college kid there and everyone will be like a corporate person. And I will see who wins these awards. And at the very end, I'll note them down. I'll find them in the lobby and I'll go be like, I'm a student in this industry. I go to this university. I saw you won an award. Can I take you out for coffee in the next 1 month? I just want to know what you do.
Wow.
Every single person said yes.
Wow. Every person said yes.
Every single person said yes.
It's crazy. Like anybody listening to this that like fears, because like rejection is one of the biggest things that holds people back from just going into those successful people and asking to get an interview or asking to talk to them. Every person said yes. By the way, I did not know you did that. That's a brilliant strategy to get knowledge and connections.
Everything they said, I wrote down. I got really good at asking questions. And get this, I would always offer to pay for coffee. I think I probably paid 2 out of 5 times. They wouldn't even let me pay. They'd literally come, they'd like buy me lunch, they'd buy me coffee, and they're like, I'm going to give you free advice on how to be successful. It was great. It's just people, nobody asks them, right? They're just got recognized on this big stage, and then what? You know? And so I'm the only guy who's going up to them and not just saying congratulations and going home, but I want to learn from you. I've done that my entire life. I still do that. Sam, I do that to you. Even on our personal calls, I ask for feedback. This Friday, I'm meeting with one of our family friends who has been in the C-suite. He's been in several positions in the C-suite, actually. And I'm going to meet with him and talk about my career progression. Hey, I'm your COO. I feel like I've done well, but I'm still looking to learn. I'm always looking to learn, always looking, how can I do better? How can I learn? What is one tip or trick where I can improve myself? That's never ending. I think the other side of this is also like when I was in college, my friends used to call me an ask hole. It's where somebody who asks a lot of question and then who gets really annoying, so they think you're an asshole, meets. And so you're an ask hole. I'm sorry to use profanity.
No, you can use profanity. We've dropped the F-bomb on here a couple times before.
Okay. So my whole point is you could get a bad reputation for always asking people questions, but none of them remember, but I benefited. I never tried to ask somebody for help, never tried to ask for support, advice. Here's something that somebody taught me very early on that served me well. They said, when you go ask for, most people don't ask for advice because they think they need to give something of value in return and they don't have anything to provide. And the person who taught me the skill said, your request is what you're providing in return for their advice, because people love to be asked. Imagine if somebody walked up to you and said, I think you're very successful. I want to be like you. I want to think like you. Can you just spend 15 minutes to talk to me about what you do and how you live your life so I can be a better person? Would you say no to that?
Hell no. That's beautiful. Yeah. What a request. Guys, anybody listening to that, rewind this right now and literally write down in script what he just said, because that is literally a script for how you could get a meeting with almost any successful person and pick their brain, which is so valuable. Gold, brother. Gold.
Absolutely.
Man, I want to transition. I kind of have two more topics I want listeners to hear from you. First of all, I just want to say I've seen you do what you just shared, just kind of to rewind for a second. I've seen you do what you just shared so many times. You're constantly out there to learn. You're constantly going. I've heard as a motivational speaker one time said the biggest key to success was to stay hungry. And man, you're never satisfied. That's the annoying part about you too. It's like, I say that tongue in cheek, you're like, hey, we hit goals, and then you're like, let's keep going. I mean, and I'm the same way, but it's the beautiful part about you, and you're able to do it in a happy way too, with gratitude, like we've discussed before. So I think it's really beautiful. I want to touch base because you made a big transition into your dad's business where you started raising capital for real estate deals. You started consulting investors on what investments would be great for them, and helping being a consultant in that space. And I guess my question for you is, what are some of the biggest things you learned? Because I know we have a lot of people listening to this. Maybe they don't need to raise millions and millions of dollars like you have. I think you've raised 15 million in the last 18 months or something like that, or last couple of years. More than that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, you can say, well, I don't know the exact number, but I know there's people on here that maybe they don't want to raise millions, but maybe they want to raise 50K for their first house. And I think the principles of what you're doing still apply. So I'd love for them to hear from you. What are some of the principles of building relationships with investors to get them to trust you, to get them to give you their money, and to get them to trust that you're going to invest it wisely for somebody who might be looking to either raise capital on a bigger scale or is starting small like I did. And, my first 100K was from my brother who just gave me 100K. That was that. What is your advice for someone in that situation?
Absolutely. I think I wrote down the first three things that came to my mind. By the way, I'm not saying they're the best things. They're just the first three things that came to my mind. First one is honesty. I'm always honest. I never oversell beyond what I believe in, right? I might, but if you actually talk to me on a deal, I'm always jumping up and down about the next big deal because I believe in it and I love it because I understand the market. Always researching the market. I know what's going on in the economy. I know what's going on at the Fed. I know the industry. I know what other deals are going on outside of our group. So I can compare. So I know if a deal is good or on market. If it's a bad deal, I kill that very quickly. And I provide honesty. If I truly believe something for someone, I tell them. And I have done that so much and so often that I am blessed. I am truly blessed that I have investors right now that will call me and they go, I don't care who your partner is. I don't care what the deal is. I want to know what Ramu thinks. Ramu, where should I invest? When I started, it was 25,000, 50,000. Now I have people who call me. I've built very strong relationships with these investors. $100, $200, $300, $500,000 of their family's hard-earned money. Ramu, you tell me where to put my money. There are certain investors where I've earned their trust. Outside of their 401k, all of their money is with me. I mean, where I've directed it and helped them deploy it. That trust doesn't come easily, comes with honesty and knowing the market. So that's one. Second is building a relationship. You've got to get to know these people personally. When I'm like, hey, let's get to know each other, people are like, oh, I have this investment and that investment, and I like this, and I don't like those investments. And I'm like, that's great, but I don't care. I want to know about your family. I want to know about you. I want to know what you value. I want to know what you do on your weekends. I want to know who you are. And I want you to know who I am. I want to know what I've done, how I do things, what my value system is. Because if you're going to do business with me for a lifetime, then we have to know each other. And I tell people all the time, I do not care about any one deal. I'm in this relationship for a lifetime. I don't want your $50,000 today and then you think it's a bad deal. I want your $50,000 to deploy and then you get 100 grand back, and then I want 100 grand. Oh, and then your new 50 grand you just saved, I want that too. And then when we double that, I want your 300 grand, and then that's going to turn to 4, and then 800 and $1 million and 3 million. Until you retire, I want to be your guy. I want to earn your trust. So if I'm going to turn you away, then that's okay, because you're going to come back to me. I have turned investors away where they'll call me and they go, Ramu, I want to invest in this, which brings me to my next point, which is risk profile. I understand the level of risk tolerance each investor has, and I have an excellent gauge of how much risk every deal has. And I say, this deal is attractive, but it is above your risk tolerance. No, Ramu, you don't understand. I want to take this risk. No, you don't. You take my money. No, sir. Why? You said this on that deal, and the deal that we talked about 6 months ago, you said no to because of these reasons. This deal has the same or higher risk associated with it. You don't understand that, but I do. I only want your money if you're willing to take that risk. You're closer to retirement. You have a low investment, amount. You don't have a total. For example, people who have less to invest try to take higher risks. I don't let them do that. I'll be like, nope. If you lose your principal, you got nothing. We can't do that. I'm not going to take your money. And they're frustrated in the short term, but they come back because they trust me. The next part I would say that has come to my mind is good deals. I only offer good deals. And a good deal is arbitrary. Anything that's a double-digit return per year, I think is a good deal. Now, I say that tongue-in-cheek because sometimes I give advice to our students. You can offer 6%, 7%, 8%, because I know, Sam, you've taken loans from people at 6% interest rate, and they're happy to give you the money because they think they're getting a big deal off of you. Man,
it's better than 0% in a checking account.
Exactly. So if you can talk to people who have just money sitting in a bank account, and you can offer them 6, 7, 8%, always offer them more than what inflation is, and you will have their attention. Also, make sure that you can hold their money long enough to make a good return for them. I hate it when people come to me and they're like, I want to pay you 6% annual interest for 3 months. I'm like, did you just offer me to pay like a 1.5% return on my money for this deal? Like that's so like don't insult me and never call me again. Don't insult your investors. Offer them a real deal. Bite the bullet if you have to. Here's something else. I always get paid last. I never take out of my investors' money. Only after they get their principal back, I will touch a single dollar. The deal structure is very, very important. In fact, Sam, we have 10 points on how to pick a deal and a deal sponsor. I have worked very hard to create this. My dad has been doing this instinctually for many, many years. It took me 6 months to put it into writing. Are you interested in me sharing those 10 points very quickly?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to pull this up right now. Here's a list of 10 things broken down into three, I'll call it 3.5 categories of how to...
So this is 10 things on how you vet an operator or how you vet the deal itself?
Both.
Okay.
To vet an operator, what we call it is how to vet a deal and a deal sponsor.
Love it.
Same thing. Operator and a good deal.
Same. No, let's hear it. This sounds gold. This is going to be gold.
So there's 4 primary categories. There's the person, the operator, the deal, and the final question. So let's get into it. The person. First, aligned value system. By the way, this order has a point to it. If at any point the answer is no, you walk away. The answer has to be positive throughout the 10 questions.
This isn't like a get a 9 out of 10. This is like you're freaking 10 out of 10 and this is a deal as a no-go.
I would say actually 9 out of 10. But if it's an 8 out of 10 or less, then no.
Okay, got it.
The reason is because the 9th question is altruistic. It actually has nothing to do with profit. But we'll get there when we get there.
Got it.
1, under the category of the person, aligned value system. Do you believe the same things they believe? Do they believe what you believe? Why is this important? Everybody assumes everyone else operates on their value system. And when other people break your value system, you think they're out of integrity. Instead of figuring that out later, figuring out what their value system is now is going to help you reduce friction in the deal and the relationship. Point number 2, good character. Are they personally a good person? If they have a great deal and they are a shitty person, I will not do business with them. I do not have enough time, energy to do business and spend time with somebody I don't respect or don't like. It's just, I don't have it. Do they have a good character? If they have a bad character, I wouldn't be their friend. I'm not going to talk to them. 3rd, integrity. Do they have professional integrity? Do they say what they do and do what they say? If they don't, if they have a bad reputation, walk away. Check their references. Ask any new person, hey, can I talk to some of your other investors? Can I talk to your business partners? If they say no, either they're so new that you might not want to work with them, or 2, they have a bad reputation and they don't want to refer you. If they don't have one person that loves them, there's something wrong. Now, I will also add this big asterisk. Sam and I hired somebody. He gave us 3 references. All 3 references gave him glowing reviews, and he was the single worst employee we've ever had. So references are not everything, but ergo, if you get a reference that's negative or no reference, huge red flag. Right?
Yeah. And something that I was actually thinking about this. I know you use this for vetting the operators of the deals, but ultimately this absolutely could be used, similar questions to be asked for when you're hiring someone, you're bringing in a partner, or you're just bringing someone on your team. I 100% agree.
Yeah. So let's go to section 2, the operator.
Right, so we got aligned value system, good character, integrity, and then what's number 4? Oh, no, there's 3.
Yeah. So we just covered those 3 under the category of the person. So we're going into the next category of the operator. 5+ years of experience. Have they been doing this for at least 5 years? If you're raising capital, let's say in Scale Your Real Estate, right? You just joined Scale Your Real Estate, you're raising capital. You can lean on somebody else's experience. You can say, Sam has been doing this for 15 years. He's my coach. He's my business partner, right? That works too. But you've got to bring at least 5+ years of experience. Otherwise, you're too new for me to take a risk on. Somebody's got to know what they're doing. Second, successful exits. Have you sold an investment property? Have you turned a full cycle? Put a different way, have you seen an appreciation cycle? Have you bought and sold a business? Sam, what would be a successful exit for a co-living?
Yeah, successful exit for a co-living would be selling selling or refinancing, just exiting that property. I mean, for me, my successful exits were like buying a bunch of 4-bedroom properties when I first started, and then realizing that I didn't only have to buy 4 bedrooms. I could do 5, I could do 6, I could do 7, I could do 8. And so just selling off those properties that had appreciated a ton, pocketing that capital, redeploying it back into co-living, that's the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. So something of that nature, right? Exiting, cash out, refinance, something of that game to show that show maturity in that game. Next one is experience handling missteps. I tell my partners, new partners that want to work with us, and to educate people, if somebody has not had a major fuck up, you are going to be their major fuck up. They're going to fuck up on your money. So I actually want people who have failed and still decided to stay in the game and have recovered. Why? The question in real estate is not if something goes wrong, it's when something goes wrong. When it goes wrong, do they have the tenacity, the capacity, and the interest to overcome that negative scenario, that emergency, whatever it is? They've got to recover. And if they have not had an experience recovering, or they've not had a major failure, you don't want to work with them because it could be a fair weather friend in the investment game. You want to work with somebody who's gone to the negative depths of the game and have fought their way back. Because guess what? When life throws you a curveball and your investment might go into a strong negative, you need a partner that can take that challenge and go, I've done this before, and bring it back positive. That's very, very important. If someone has not messed up royally with an investment or can't even share a story with you, don't invest with them. That's very, very important in my books.
Powerful tip.
The third section is the deal. First is, or I would say seventh, right, is conservative underwriting. Is it wishful thinking or is it conservative underwriting? Typically, if anybody says, I'm on market, that's wishful thinking. The beautiful part about conservative underwriting is it's binary. It's either conservative or it's not. Regardless of what your political beliefs are, you want to be conservative when you do math, right? Fiscal responsibility is very important. What I tell people is that a good operator plans for 100 things to go wrong. We understand that only 20 are going to go wrong. We just don't know which 20. We are financially and emotionally prepared for at least 20 of those 100 things to go wrong. We know what they are, and we mitigate those risks. So when it occurs, we can handle it. And we have the finances to handle it. Do they have reserves? Do you have reserves? All of that is very important. Third, I had mentioned this a little bit earlier, fees structure. Are the fees structured properly? What does that mean? Are you profiting only after your investors profit? Then I can trust you. If you're like a financial advisor or a mutual fund, where you can tank my investment and still go home rich, I don't want to invest with you because you could not care less what the performance of my money is. But the way I structure my deals, if I can't make you a profit, I don't get paid at all. Now, do you want to give me your money? Because guess what? I have to make you a certain return before I get anything. Even if you think I'm not very good, at least you know that my incentive structure is aligned correctly, right? So when
what was number 2 after conservative underwriting?
Fees structure.
Fee structure. Got it.
Fee structure. But basically how I get paid or how you would get paid. And the last side is, the ninth point is upside opportunity. What does that mean? You don't cap my returns. If you hit a gold mine, can I share in the gold mine? Because I share in the risk. If you don't make money, I don't make money. You could potentially lose my principal. So it's only fair if you cut your investor in on the upside. I hate deals where people go, we have this hurdle and we have this, shared return up until this point. But after that, it's the GPs. No, I'm not doing that. My investors have to make the upside. If I get rich on a deal, they got to get rich with me. If they don't get rich with me, they'll quite literally have less money to invest with me on the next deal. I'm always, always, always looking to get their money back once I pay them. If you put 50,000 with me and 5 years later, I give you 100,000, 3 months later, I want $100,000 from you. And I better have worked with the integrity and the honesty and open and available communication to earn that business back. If one of my investors goes, thank the Lord, I got my money back, never coming back to you, I've not done my job. You have to provide that level of white glove service. Some investors expect crazy, crazy things. Some investors are very scrappy. You got to work with everybody. And finally, the final question, the fourth part, this is where I call it 3.5, right? Is do you like working with them? Do you like working with your investor? Do you like working with that partner, that GP, that deal sponsor? That's very important. I like to say that partnership is like a marriage, right? It's important who you pick because it can make or break your life. And at the very least, it can make or break your investment. Do you like that person? I do not invest with anybody that I don't like, because if I don't like them, I don't want to talk to them. And if I don't talk to them, there's a lot of information I don't know. But if I like them, well, guess what? My business meetings are fun. It's like Sam and I getting to work together. It's easy. And when it's easy and I like them, they're going to pick up my phone call. They're going to answer my questions. They're going to give me extra information. They're going to talk to my investors directly if I want to. You should get all these perks because they're like, oh, I love Ramu. I'll do anything for his investors. I'll do anything for him. If I am good friends with the deal sponsor, you want to invest in my deal. Like, that's very simple. Because guess what? When we're buddies, the trust is higher. They're going to go above and beyond to make the deal work. They are going to forego their profit to prioritize your profit. Because if they don't, they're going to get a bad name with me and they're going to lose a friend. So your priorities are set straight.
That's such a full circle. It's such a full circle comment, because we started off a little while ago talking about how so many people shy away from working with their friends, shy away from working with their family and friends. But you're almost saying like, no, that adds an extra thread between you and them. It gives an extra connection that makes that relationship stronger and therefore hopefully more profitable and easier to deal with. So beautiful full circle there, man. These are great.
Can I share something else?
Yeah, please.
When you do this correctly, things like this are going to happen. Today, I was on a phone with an investor, and he likes to invest with his IRA money, and he doesn't like to fill out the paperwork by himself. So he's always like, Ramu, can you get on Zoom with me and help me fill out the IRA paperwork every time, every investment? So I did today. So today we got on. He made a $50,000 reservation, and we went on. And I was like helping him fill out his paperwork. And he said, well, Ramu, I changed my mind. I want to do $100,000. Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. We can do $100,000. Finish the paperwork. Ramu, I just realized that was my regular IRA. I have a Roth IRA. Are you okay if I put another $30,000 from my Roth IRA? Yeah, we just got to go to the portal and make another reservation. Sure, go ahead, Ramu. I'll wait for you. Okay, da-da-da-da. $50,000 reservation became $130,000 today because I provide white glove service, because he trusts me. I know him. I know what he values. He knows what I value. I respect him, and he respects me. We almost 3x'd his investment.
Wow.
Because he likes me. Just that simple. And he trusts me. That's what it comes down to. Guys, here's a final takeaway I'll share about making money or raising money, right, for investments. Everyone has more money than you think you do, and everyone has more money than they think they do. Everyone's richer than they believe. If you know how to tap into those resources, if you can have those crucial conversations, if you can be an honest person, people will share with you how much money they have. Here's a nugget. Best way is if you go think of a person that you might want to raise money from. Imagine how much money they might have based off your assumptions. Multiply that by 1.5. Now, what is a fair ask of them if they have 1.5 times what you think they have? Go ask them that. 2 out of 3 times, you'll be wrong. 1 out of 3 times, you'll be wrong in the opposite direction. They'll have even more. And in the 2 out of 3 times, they're going to go, I don't have that much money. I only have this much money. They'll give you exactly how much money's in their bank account. You can realign that number to what's appropriate. And the guy or gal who has more than they think, they're just going to say yes to your random number that you've put in front of them because they have way more than you actually think they do. It is very easy to raise money if you're an honest person. If you're an honest person who prioritizes their investor and will treat their money better than you will treat your own, forget tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. You can raise millions and millions of dollars. It's not hard. The hard part is gaining trust. If you have trust, money is easy.
Wow.
Thank you, Sam, for letting me share that. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad you shared that. I was going to say, can we please use these for our hires from now on too? Like, these are great. These are great points. Like, it really is more applicable. It's applicable to like anybody you work with. And I hope the listeners are taking that away, that this is not just applicable to, someone who's sponsoring a deal. These are great points that are applicable to a partner, to someone you bring on in your company, just a new hire. Like, I love every single point, man. Yeah, you dropped the value on that. That was awesome. Well,
hey, we do have a free PDF in our company. Is there any way that I could share that with you for you to like give away to your listeners?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you guys could write this down, or you could go download this PDF.
Yeah.
Share right out a link to that you guys can go and download that on. We'll put that at the end of the podcast once I figure it out.
Is there a link they can go? Is there somewhere they can go right now?
No.
Got it. Okay. So they just got it. Yeah. So we'll add a link. So we can do that. No, yeah, no problem. Well, man, here's the truth. I wanted to kind of dive into co-living and how you and I are partnered in that to expand and share the good news about that. But the truth is, man, you've dropped so much value in an hour and 15 minutes. And this is already going to be one of our longest podcasts. I usually keep them 30, 45 minutes, but I didn't want to cut this short, man, because this is like badass, great stuff. And I hope everybody was listening. I hope they were taking notes. And we just covered a really great range of topics here. So I just want to say, if someone wants to connect with you, man, if they want to get in touch with you or they want to ask you questions, or what's the best way then for them to find out more about you and actually connect?
Absolutely. Follow me on social. Instagram is GRVELU. You can follow me, DM me. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and give out my personal cell number. My cell number is 972-754-7943. I'll be honest, don't call me. I won't pick up. Text me. If you text me, I will respond. Whether it's today or tomorrow or the day after, I will respond and we can have a legitimate conversation. You feel free to ask whatever you want, any questions you have. All I ask is you put your name and that you actually heard me on this podcast so I know how to orient the conversation. But guys, that's my personal cell number. Feel free to reach out. I am available. I love to help. And I'm Sam's right-hand guy. So if you want to get a hold of him and he won't respond, you might be able to get a hold of him through me, but no guarantees.
Yeah, that's very generous of you. I will say, Ramu, I was on a podcast. Actually, I was doing an interview, I think 2 days ago, and someone else gave their personal cell phones. I don't know what it is. We're on this like giving away personal cell phones on this podcast. But hey, that just speaks to you and how generous you truly are with your time, your energy, and everything else. So, brother, I appreciate this. We are going to have you back on. Maybe it'll be a shorter session. Maybe do like a 30 session just on co-living. And I'm sure everybody will love to hear that one. But this is a great just intro to who you are, what you're about. Thank you for dropping the value, and can't wait till next time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for having me on.
I told you it was going to be a good one. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. I'll tell you what, I took notes on those last 10 points, even though I've been friends with Ramu for 13 years or 10 years, however long it's been now. I didn't know. We've never actually talked in detail about those 10 points. So take those. Not only was that gold, so many things that he dropped were formulas and clues to his success. And I just want you guys to really remember that success leaves clues. And so follow those in these episodes as I bring on successful guests who are crushing it in their field and who are in real estate and most of them in co-living. So share this with a friend, enjoy future episodes. And please, if you would, just give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.